2024 Eugene City Council meeting. Thank you for joining us in this hybrid meeting format. Anyone wishing to access the meeting can do so by watching the live stream available on our website, the broadcast on Comcast Channel 21, or by following the access instructions listed for this meeting on the city's public webcast and meeting materials webpage. Tonight's meeting will include a public comment period. If you wish to speak during the public comment period and have not already done so, please fill out a request to speak form available on our public webcast and meeting materials webpage, or fill out one of the printed forms available at the entrance to this room. We'll accept those forms until 7:35. The forms will be used to generate the random order of speakers and to correctly enter speakers' names into the public record. For those of you who are joining the meeting remotely, you are welcome to email your comments to City Council. And as a reminder, we have a couple of basic rules of conduct. We do not permit flags or signs. We don't want any loud or disruptive language, anything that would make it difficult for us to conduct business. And most importantly, we seek to create a respectful, safe place for everybody to express their opinions. And you can always show your silent approval when someone speaks. And then again, same cautions as always. COVID is back, flus, RSV, everything is circulating in the world. So if you're feeling a little ill, we prefer that you not stay in the room. We do have some masks in the back, and we encourage people to just stay home. And with that, I call the February 12th, 2024 meeting of the Eugene City Council to order, and I will begin with a land acknowledgement. Since time immemorial, the Kalapuya people have been the indigenous stewards to our region, building dynamic communities, maintaining balance with wildlife, and enacting sustainable land practices. This land acknowledgement is a way of resisting the erasure of indigenous histories and of honoring Native communities by inviting truth and reconciliation. Following treaties between 1851 and 1855, Kalapuya people were dispossessed of their indigenous homeland by the United States government and forcibly removed to the Coast Reservation in Western Oregon. As we consider the impacts of colonization, we also acknowledge the strength and resiliency of displaced indigenous people. The city of Eugene is built within the traditional homelands known as Kalapuya Ilahi. Kalapuya descendants are citizens of the Confederated Tribes of Grand Ronde Community of Oregon and the Confederated Tribes of Siletz Indians of Oregon. They continue to make contributions in our communities here and across the lands. We express our respect for the inherent political sovereignty of all federally recognized tribal nations and indigenous people who live in the state of Oregon and across the nation. And as we do this first meeting of it's not the first meeting of the month, is it? It is the first meeting of the month. We have ceremonial matters, and the first item tonight is a proclamation recognizing Black History Month. Whereas Black History Month, also known as African American History Month, is an annual celebration of recognition of achievements by Black Americans and a time for acknowledging their important role in U.S. history and in our communities. And whereas Carter Godwin Wilson, a Black historian, recognized the accomplishments of Black American citizens and on February 7th, 1926, created one of the cultural landmarks of contemporary Americans, Negro History Week. The second week of February was chosen for the event because it coincided with the birthday of President Abraham Lincoln on February 12th and Frederick Douglass on February 14th. In the 1960s, during the height of the Civil Rights Movement, Negro History Week was changed to Black History Week. And whereas, as part of the National Bicentennial Celebration, President Gerald Ford officially recognized Black History Month in 1976, calling upon the public to, quote, seize the opportunity to honor the too often neglected accomplishments of Black Americans in every area of endeavor throughout our history, end quote. Since then, every U.S. president has officially designated the month of February as Black History Month. And whereas the 2024 national theme for the observance of African Americans and the arts This theme celebrates Black American contributions in the fields of visual and performing arts, literature, fashion, folklore, language, film, music, architecture, culinary, and other forms of cultural expression. Whereas Black American artists have used art to preserve history and community memory, as well as for empowerment. From the Harlem Renaissance to jazz musicians, they have been at the forefront of artistic movements that have challenged stereotypes, celebrated Black culture and identity, and helped to bring people together across racial and cultural lines. Now, therefore, I, Lucy Venus, Mayor of the City of Eugene, do hereby proclaim February 2024 to be Black History Month in Eugene, Oregon, and encourage all community members to join in celebrating the contributions of Black Americans to our community and our nation. Thank you. And with that, that was a really interesting proclamation, wasn't it? I learned a lot of things I didn't know. So thank you for listening to that. And thank you to the staff for crafting it. With that, we're ready for committee reports and items of interest. And I know that Mike has one, Councilor Clark has one. I'll let you take it away. And Councilor Zelenka.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to say real quickly, I appreciate the mayor. I know that she will at some point soon in the next few weeks have a proclamation about this, but I have friends who are members of this organization and wanted to just say in advance to congratulate current and former members of the Downtown Eugene Lions Club, who on February 20th will celebrate the 100-year anniversary of that organization here in Eugene and their work to help all of those with sight and hearing impairments for the last 100 years. It's fantastic work that they do to help others in our community, and I congratulate them on 100 years of service. Thank you.
Thank you for that. It's a pretty distinguished organization. They've had a lot of impact, so it's pretty cool, whole century. All right, Councilor Zelenka.
Yeah, last week I was in Washington, D.C. for work. Got to meet with Congresswoman Val Hoyle and asked her to fix the federal bureaucracy, and she'd get right on that after she fixes FEMA, which is her priority right now because of the disaster that we had a couple of weeks ago. But since it was Black History Month, I also took the opportunity, which I'd never done before in Washington, D.C., to go to the African American Museum. And it is an incredible museum. It's so well organized and so interesting, both from a historical perspective, history, and also from a culture and entertainment, starting with the 1400s and talking about the slave trade and how that all came about and what was going on, and then through the whole history of the United States, all the way up through Obama being elected president. And then that was in the lower floors, and the upper floors is the entertainment and sports. I just learned an incredible amount about a whole bunch of amazing people that contributed greatly to our country. Frederick Douglass's cane is in that museum, actually. But the highlight for me was one of my heroes, Martin Luther King Jr. There's a copy of the actual speech he read from I Have a Dream speech that he read from the Lincoln Memorial, sitting behind glass, obviously, but with his handwritten notes on it. And that was really the highlight for me. But I totally recommend, if anybody has the opportunity to go there and they have a couple extra hours, that's one of the things they take time to go do, because it's really fascinating and well done. It's free.
Thank you. Others? You have an important one. I'm going to jump in before we do yours, okay?
Yep.
So I'm just going to piggyback on Councilor Zelenka's comments and as a note that the Martin Luther King Jr. March and celebration was forced to postpone because of the ice storm, and it is the new date is this coming Monday, the 19th. So the march is beginning at Autzen Stadium at 9 o'clock, and they're marching to the shed and having the sort of formal observance at the shed. So I encourage people to get up in the morning, even though it's a holiday, get up in the morning and go for a march with everybody else in the community. It's a really wonderful experience of coming together. So with that, I know that Councilor Keating has a motion.
I have a motion, but also a multifaceted point of interest, if I may, Mayor. Thank you for the poignant and powerful proclamation. I wanted to also thank the Chamber. I attended the 70th anniversary of the 70th annual gala at the Graduate. And I want to congratulate George Russell on receiving the first citizen, for being the first Citizen Award recipient. I wanted to also recognize that ONA, I see a lot of our nurses in the audience here tonight. Jazz hands, thank you for being a frontline worker. And I know you kicked off a strike on Saturday, and I look forward to joining you. And I expect we'll get lots of invitations from you tonight. Look forward to joining you on the picket lines, and I stand in solidarity for a fair contract and fair wages and working conditions that are safe and free from hazard. Mayor, I have a motion, if I may, because I suspect there are also some Eugene Emeralds enthusiasts in the audience tonight. And our emails have been bombarded. Good job, Ems. Mayor and colleagues, I move to direct the city manager to schedule a work session on February 21, 2024 for council to further discuss the construction of a multi-use stadium at Lane County Fairgrounds and to consider the potential adoption of a resolution that refers a capital bond to the May ballot.
Second.
Comments, discussion? Yes, Counselor Clark.
I may be wrong about this, but I just wanted to double check with the city's attorney. I remember reading something, I thought, where we had a deadline of the 20th for the sake of the May ballot. Am I incorrect in remembering that?
It is the 21st, and the February 21st deadline is a city code established 90-day deadline. The state established deadline by which we have to submit a certified, if in fact there was a resolution referring it to the ballot, the state and county deadline for us to submit a certified ballot would be March 21st. So the February 21st deadline is the date by which, if the council were to want to adopt a resolution referring it, that is your deadline.
And I just want to say, you may have seen that date on a communication from me to the county administrator, because we would need to know, I let him know I would need to know by the 20th in order to bring it to you on the 21st.
That's what it was. I'm sure I read.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, so yeah, I'm correct in anything we would choose to dispose one way or another. We'd have plenty of time for it to vote if we voted in favor of this, right?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other comments or questions?
Yeah, I have a comment.
Okay, Counselor Yang.
Yeah, thank you. The first thing I just want to say is I think the one thing we can all agree on is that keeping the M's would benefit the Eugene. I myself have very fond memories of taking my two kids who played Little League to games when they were small. And I know that there are a lot of people in the community that have similar fond memories of going to M's games. The thought of losing our local team is not a pleasant one, and this long process has been hard and upsetting for a lot of us. But I'm not upset at the county. I'm not upset at the M's. I'm not even upset at the 100+ emails that we've gotten over the last couple of days. What I'm upset about is with Major League Baseball that doesn't seem to realize the position they are putting communities in. You know, we are not a rich community, nor a rich state that has excess money just lying around. We don't want to lose our local team. Yet we are being asked to fund through state and county and local taxpayer money what appears to be over 90% of a stadium they are requiring. I'm going to support this motion by Councillor Keating tonight. I hope that there will be new information to discuss at the work session. But if not, I want us to remember that the county is actively working on this project's viability, and it may be necessary to give them more time. If a city bond measure is a smart idea, it will still be a smart idea in November. And asking for money makes sense when we actually know what the funding gap is that is needed, and when we know what will be required to ensure the stadium's operation and maintenance are sustainable. It makes the most sense for the county to come back to the city for funding to get them over the finish line rather than in the middle of the race. And maybe that will be 15 million, maybe it'll be more, maybe it'll be less. Perhaps the county will find a different solution. But I think this patience will also give us a chance for the revenue team to come back with their ideas for covering the budget gaps in our own budget. So hopefully we won't have to make program cuts to the library, animal services, parks, police, fire, all the important things that the city does. we want this ultimately to be a win-win, right? And if it takes a little bit more time to make that happen, I hope that everyone involved will agree that it's worth it. But I really look forward to this work session, and thanks for Councilor Keating for bringing this forward.
Okay, Counselor Zelenka and then Counselor Semple.
Yeah, when we bring this back, there were 3 conditions that we asked of the county before we put this on the ballot. One was that there be a plan to fill the gap for financing. Have not heard that there is one. That that Lane County actually dedicate funds to the stadium construction, and that we have assurances that the operation and maintenance of the facility won't fall back on the city of Eugene. So my request is that can staff please bring back a status of all 3 of those items when we have this discussion on the 21st?
Yes. I mean,
Or
I
status
will
of-
reach out to the county administrator and let them know, depending on how this goes, how this went, and what you're looking for. I previously asked for those 3 things and was given sort of like, here's our funding plan and we never considered this part of our operations. I think there's pieces of this that would have to be worked out in an MOU IGA at the point that we're doing some sort of transaction, but yes, we can ask.
Yeah, one of the reasons we put those conditions on and didn't refer it to the voters at that point was because those are big gaps in this whole plan. And putting something out on the ballot, having people go through a campaign, put all that effort, have us put it on the ballot, which is not free, and all the staff work it takes to do that. We should be cognizant of the amount of work that all that will take. If this isn't going to go forward, or if we don't have those kind of assurances for the May ballot, then maybe it's just not ripe and it should be going into the November ballot if those things become much more real.
Yes, Counselor Gross.
I think it's important to
Oh,
understand.
I'm sorry. Wait a second. Emily was in.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you. I hardly need to talk, but I just want to say thank you to Counselor Ye and Counselor Zelenka, because those were my concerns and hopes. I wanted to wait till the conditions were met, but since we're all still willing to work, I'm willing to still talk. And just thank you very much, Counselor Ye and Counselor Zelenka.
Thank you. Okay, Counselor Gross.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate what my colleagues have said, and this is a difficult place to be in. At the same time, if we are telling ourselves we could always put it on the November ballot will be too late. That's just the way it is. It's the May ballots are one shot at this. Personally, I favor putting it out to the public and let them decide. And this won't be taking away from police, fire, parks, library. This would be above and beyond with the public saying they are willing to spend more to cover a bond. It's a geo bond. It's not a levy. It's not anything that can be used for any other purpose other than this. And the bottom line is, if we do move forward and the deal falls apart, we won't be levying the money. The money is to be dedicated towards contributing to the stadium construction. It's not for anything else. I don't believe we can legally use it for anything else. And the city attorney's acknowledging that's correct. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. If that's all the comments, we're ready for a vote. All in favor of the motion, please raise your hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That passes unanimously. That's excellent. We look forward to that conversation. Thank you, Counselor Keating, for bringing that forward.
Thank you, Mayor.
And then I guess I need my script here. Okay. All right. And with that, we're ready to move on to the consent calendar. So I can have a motion.
Thanks, Mayor. Move approval of items on consent calendar 1.
Second.
All in favor? Please raise your hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, that passes unanimously. Thank you. And with that, we are ready to go on to public comment. The public comment period is an opportunity for individuals to speak to the city council on any city-related issues except for those items which have already been heard by a hearings official. And I believe you have a list ready for us. And with that, I think I'll turn it over to Cherish.
Excellent. We have 11 speakers this evening, Mayor. I will announce 2 speakers' names at a time. When you are called to speak, please state your name and your ward or neighborhood if known before beginning your comments. If you are announced as the next speaker, please move to the seat in the front row designated for the next speaker. When it is your turn, you may come to the podium. Please leave any bags you may have with you at your seat. If you have documents to give council, please place them in the basket near the podium. You will have 2.5 minutes to speak. If you are watching the meeting, the timer should be visible. A yellow light will come on when you have 15 seconds to complete your comments. The red light indicates the end of the 2.5 minutes. Your microphone will be muted at the 2.5 minute mark. Please note that the use of profanity is prohibited, and any instances of profanity will result in immediate termination of speaking privileges. Our first speaker this evening is John Borofsky, followed by Aubriana Bree.
Good evening, Mayor and Council, City Manager. My name is John Borofsky. I am the EWEB Commissioner for Ward 2 and 3, and I'm here speaking on behalf of the Eugene Water and Electric Board. Just a few moments ago, you passed an item on your consent calendar that I'd like to speak to, but before that, I just want to thank everybody for enduring the ice storm and all that we had to go through to keep our citizens safe, warm, and electrified. We did our best that we could, and I want to thank all of our hardworking staff and everybody that helped us do that. The item on the consent calendar that you just passed was authorization for some bonds for the Eugene Water and Electric Board, specifically for electricity, resiliency, and other projects that we have in our capital improvement plan. It was a $64 million bond. There's also one for reissuing some of our other debt that we can get favorable interest rates for, saving our ratepayer customers several $100,000 by doing that. Again, I just want to say thank you for authorizing those bonds. It helps to build resiliency. So when we have storms like we had a couple of weeks ago, we are able to keep the water running, keep the lights on to our best ability. One of the benefits of these types of bonds and funding was our water treatment plant had 3 dedicated lines going to it to keep the water going. All 3 of those lines went down, but because of infrastructure that was put forward by us as a board and with the help of you and bonding money, we bought a generator for that water treatment plant about 3.5 years ago. That kept the water to the city of Eugene going when other areas would have had to have boiling water. So this is the type of stuff that ends up on a consent calendar, but is very vital to our community. So as I stated to my other colleagues on the EWEB board, you know, when you ask Dad for $64 million, it's always good to say thank you. So that's what I'm here to do.
Thank you, John. Our next speaker is Aubriana Bree, followed by Janet Ayers.
Hi, Council. Hi, City Attorney. Hi, City Manager. Thanks for letting me come up here. I'm here to invite everybody in the community to an event Sunday, February 18th, 2024. It's the Psychic Energy Fusion event where you can discover inner harmony and experience the healing power of energy transformation. It's going to be at 315 West Broadway, Suite 100 in Eugene, Oregon, 97401. And that'll be from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. I'm going to be there. I'm an oracle, and I'll be doing healing sounds with my Tibetan singing bowl, as well as my tuning fork. There's $10 to come in. I'm sorry, there's $10 per practitioner and then $5 at the door. So it's an open event for all ages. There's going to be Reiki, Japanese healing energy, singing bowls, infused oxygen, and then I'll bring my oracle cards, and I'm an artist and businesswoman here. So you guys, anybody can ask me any questions, and that's what I wanted to say. Oh, also, with all of the honoring of Black History Month, my family and I, we see it as Black Futures Month.
Like we went from Negro History Week to Black History Month to how about, I think it's important that we stay future focused. And speaking of Dr. King, just want to take a moment of silence to honor Dexter Scott King, the youngest of son of Dr. Martin Luther King. He'd passed away this year from cancer. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you, Aubriana. Our next speaker is Janet Ayers, followed by Alan Gormazano. Is Janet Ayers in the room?
She's in the back.
Good evening. I'm here tonight to state that there is another speaker that will be addressing the middle housing amendment, an abject failure by the city leaders in passing that when the federal portion of that was turned down years before. And it's put, as I understand it, the city in quite a legal pickle. I hope it does not go forward. Already receiving bills from eWeb advising that due to infrastructure, to expect your energy bills to rise substantially. Not all of us have $100,000 salaries. We're at an age of baby boomers, probably the largest group of babies that are now in retirement on fixed incomes. And I'd like to point the analogy juxtaposing the speediness of passing that middle housing amendment. It's disappointing that with the homelessness and the garbage and the criminality can't be addressed as swiftly as that was passed by this council. So I would like to suggest that they do their homework and study the issues and pick up a paper, because it is a working role. You may not be as heavily compensated as you would like, but we, the people, are relying on you to represent us and not big investors coming, carpetbaggers is what I call them, coming from out of town, reaping public dollars to the benefit of themselves and then leaving town. We've got Hynex to point to as an example of that. And with the real estate, commercial real estate, I drive around town, signs all over. And it's quite a little game how that's played out with commercial real estate and private equity firms. If the working public, if the news junkets could get that message out, how that game is played, Mr. Clark, it's shocking. It's stunning. And I need to remind you, we have a federal deficit.
Thank you, Janet. Your time is concluded.
I've been away for 7 years, and while I was away, got a message saying that there's going to be a smart meter put on my house unless I opted out. So I opted out. Then it was changed to, we'll put a smart meter on your house, but we won't turn it on. Next, it will be probably, we've got a smart meter on your house and we will turn it on. I went out to the eWeb meeting last week, and among the community comments, I heard not one comment in support of these smart meters. I'm angry that the city is financing this, that so many people in this town have objection to. And I hope that the city can either take back that amount of funding or earmark that it does not go towards hiring some third-party company, which I got a robocall from today saying, we're coming to put a smart meter on your house. Our money is being wasted that way. There is no need for all of us, especially those who do not want to have a smart meter, to be put on our house. So please, I ask you to take action on this, and I thank eWeb for everything else they do, but this one just feels like an invasion. And many people at that meeting did say they did not want anyone trespassing on their property from eWeb unless it was to just come and read the meter, which we're all fine about that. So anyway, thank you very much. Thank you for everything you do. And as far as the stadium, I ride my bike through that neighborhood a lot and I see a lot of signs saying no to the stadium at the fairgrounds. Please hear those people as well. I don't really know enough about the issue myself, but I'm just saying, please hear those who have dissent. Thank you very much.
Live in, sorry.
Oh, Ward 1.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alan. Our next speaker is Joe Turner, followed by Charlie Rojas.
Yeah, I'll stand on my tiptoes. Hi, I'm Joe Turner, and thank you for letting me come tonight and speak to for Sacred Heart Home Care Services. I'm the executive chair of our bargaining committee. This is my third negotiations with Peace Health, and I'm sure that you've all heard that we are now on the strike line. And we started on Saturday, and today was our first full day of striking. We had a lot of support. We've had a lot of nurses that came out, but we've had a lot of other unions come out, which has been wonderful. We had a great day on Saturday with lots of wonderful speakers. And I'd like to invite all of you to come out. If you just want to drive by and honk your horn, that really fills us up. It's just showing us support. We are the community nurses. We go out to your homes. We go out to wherever you are. I live in Leesburg, but I've worked for Peace Health Hospice for 11 years. I've been to Triangle Lake. I've been to outside Oak Ridge, Blue River, McKinsey Bridge, and way down to Elkton. We are we're in the South Hills. We are in the homeless camps. We are in RVs that maybe have water, but maybe not, that are leaking, and maybe you fall through a floorboard or two. We've been shot at. We've been thrown at. We've had meds stolen from our patients. We've been threatened, but we've also been welcomed and with open arms. And we've been with people as they passed. We have given our hearts and our empathy. We have been welcomed by many. And I've held people's hands as they have died, and it felt a great honor. So thank you for letting us come and speak tonight.
Thank you, Joe. Our next speaker this evening is Charlie Rojas, followed by Alan Benavides.
Charlie Rojas, Ward 7 County. Last year, Oregon Court of Appeals struck down Eugene's Mental Housing Code Amendment. The ruling was a harsh rebuke and repudiation of Eugene's political and administrative apparatus, implying you didn't know what you were doing and that you failed to adequately plan for for needed infrastructure essential for your dense housing schemes. Many of us warned you the Mental Housing Amendment was against the law, you were going to be sued, and you were going to lose. Turns out we were right. Why did you recklessly and foolishly push ahead with an ordinance so obviously out of code? The answer is to be found in the Housing Opportunity Mobility Equity Act of 2019, sponsored by New Jersey Democratic Senator Cory Booker. Booker didn't draft this legislation. It was written by unelected lobbyists in the pocket of institutional investors. The HOME Act was rolled into Build Back Better and became the housing platform for that bill. The HOME Act demanded that in order for states and cities to receive both HUD and surface transportation block grants, they had to do what the bill mandated. It was blackmail and coercion done under the guise of inclusivity and housing affordability. Some of the other requirements were elimination of off-street parking restrictions, removing height limitations on construction, because the claim was if a neighborhood didn't want unlimited cars parked on their streets or huge apartments looking into the residents' backyards, they were white supremacists attempting to impose institutional racism. But the one element that deserves attention is the one that they said was establishing density bonuses, defined as increases in permitted density of a housing development conditioned upon the inclusion of affordable housing in the development. The Mental Housing Amendment wasn't done to fulfill your supposed social justice agenda. It was done because investors wanted more money from federal subsidies and wanted to squeeze as much income as possible. Neither Build Back Better nor the HOME Act passed. You created an ordinance predicated on a federal bill that doesn't exist Neither the state of Oregon nor you could wait long enough to make sure the Build Back Better Home Act was enacted, because all you could see was the fact that it was going to be, according to the Congressional Budget Office, up to $2 to $5 trillion, with which you expected to have some portion of it, or your developers, or your investors, actually. Oregon HB 2001 was approved in 2019, same year the failed Home Act was proposed. This council passed the Middle Housing Amendment in May of 2022, months after Build Back Better was voted down. This is a straight stupid decision-making. Eugene is trending toward bankruptcy. All anyone has to do is look at San Bernardino, California. It went bankrupt in 2012 because no city can prosper if more.
Thank you, Charlie. Your time is concluded. Our next speaker this evening is Alan Benavides, followed by Vanessa Ringgold.
Mayor Venus, Council President Keating, councilors, and City Manager. I'm Alan, GM of the Emeralds. My changed slightly because I didn't anticipate what happened earlier, but we're on the brink of realizing the dream of keeping the team here. This public-private partnership will create a stadium that not only hosts incredible baseball games, but it's also going to be a gathering space for emergencies like earthquakes, wildfires, and the ice storm. I was just at the fairgrounds at the Wheeler building, handing out water and supplies, and that building's decrepit, as most of the buildings are out there. We need better resources out there. This opportunity can take us to better high school graduation, bigger events for our county and city with concerts that bypass us. I want you guys to know that the EMS ownership has pledged an additional $10 million to this project, bringing the EMS involvement to $23.5 million to this project, which is a genuine blend of private and public investment. Generally, these types of facilities are totally publicly funded with some investment, but this is 26% investment by the team in a facility that we will never own. In many ways, we compare what's going on with the YMCA in South Eugene. I remember when I moved here years ago, nobody said that wasn't going to happen. But that new building is a vibrant hub for activity in Eugene, and just as the same way, this new facility will be one at the fairgrounds. I know we have a slew of challenging events that are affecting our community, but we do need a win. We need a win for everybody, and I believe that this project is that. You've seen your inbox, the hundreds and thousands of emails that have been sent to commissioners and councilors, people who support this project. You've earlier today discussed downtown. It is a project like this that can boost vibrancy, support local businesses, and create jobs. This project hits all those marks. It won't solve everything, but it'll be a step in the right direction. The county has done an immense amount of work to get this to where we're at right now. They could have killed it. They could have killed this 2 weeks ago if they didn't want to make this happen. They put $9 million worth of land towards this project. They increased the hotel tax, and we put hundreds of thousands of dollars into getting to this point. The county has done a tremendous job. The state has put in has put in 7.5 and looking for another 7.5. The federal government has put in a grant of $1.5 million, and we need the city to help us. The EMS, along with our $23 million, gets us to a pathway of building this whole project. There is a pathway, and we need your help. So thank you.
Thank you, Alan. Our next speaker is Vanessa Ringgold, followed by Alan McWayne.
So good evening, and thank you all for coming out, especially those who are participating for the first time in the civic process. My name is Vanessa Ringgold. I am in Ward 6, and I'm here to speak about the lack of animal welfare offices in the Eugene Police Department. So the Animal Welfare Department is crucial in investigating and prosecuting animal abuse, neglect, and abandonment, patrolling for city animal governance violations, as well as transporting stray animals and animals in need to either Green Hill or for emergency veterinary help. My experiences in animal rescue, particularly during the budget negotiations last year, as well as more recently, has indicated that Chief Skinner and the leadership of the Eugene Police Department has sacrificed, if not purposely trying to sabotage the Eugene Animal Services by purposely not even advertising the open animal officer position. So this time last year, the Animal Welfare Department had a supervisor and 2 officers. One officer was sacrificed during the budget negotiations, even though the police department is constantly asking for a greater budget. And there's a pool from the public safety tax that could be used to pay for animal officers. And about a few months ago, the only animal welfare officer that the Eugene Police Department had put a notice. Since then, there has been no job posting. There has been no action into trying to replace this person. And this is a funded position. This is all of our taxpayer money that is not actually being utilized to help the people and animals of this community. So as we speak, there's a single animal welfare supervisor who really shouldn't be doing field work, trying to service a community of over 170,000 people and countless animals. So, and what has been intimated to me during this entire process is this is a purposeful decision on the part of Chief Skinner, who, as I will summarize in my own words, he doesn't wanna. He doesn't want, as we all have or work that in our job descriptions we don't want to do, we have to do it anyway. And so the ask tonight is for this city council as well as city manager to make sure that this position does get filled. It's fully funded and it's desperately needed for the animals and the people in this community. So thank you.
Thank you, Vanessa. Our next speaker this evening is Alan McWayne, followed by Jamie Williams.
Hello, councilors, Mayor Vinnis and Manager Madari. Alan McWayne, Ward 1. There are many reasons why this proposed M Stadium is not a good idea. The county's LEC master plan ranks it as number 7 of 8 possible improvements and rejects it. It is too large, it's in the wrong location, require removal of the indoor arena. It would detract from LEC operations and would lose $200,000 each year. Yet the discussion has been only how to procure the $100 million in funding, not the proposal's lack of merit. The M's owners are the largest management group in MILB, but have not chosen alternate stadium sites, instead asking for the public to fund this on county land. By the way, Alan Benavides mentioned 26 million, I believe, from ESG. 10 million is a 30-year lease prepaid, and 3 million of that is furniture and equipment. No one wants to say no to this stadium because reason one, it will actually revitalize the LEC. But their own consultants advise against it. It will lose money, and the campus, even with the new stadium, will need $52 million in upgrades. Reason two, people say it will support the local economy. Actually, numerous studies and 40 vacant minor league stadiums across the country indicate otherwise. Reason three, people say Eugene will lose baseball forever. Actually, we do have 5 local teams, including the Ducks and the Springfield Drifters, who built their stadium for $3 million. And everyone loves the M's, and we hope ESG will find another site. The easiest decision for this council would be for let the voters decide. But you risk your credibility by asking taxpayers to fund a $15 million bond while reducing city services by $15 million. Only 1% of residents attend M's games, yet taxes for this would be paid for all. And some folks still think that M's and county visitors will pay everything. Once the true financial burden is evident, voters will make the sensible choice by rejecting the bond. I advise the council to resist the temptation of placing a doomed bond proposal with this costly campaign onto the May election. Thank you.
Thank you, Alan. Our next speaker this evening is Jamie Williams, followed by Heather Herbert.
Hi, my name's Jamie Williams. Thanks for having me up here today. I'm with Ward 4. I am a hospice nurse who is on strike currently, so I was just coming up here to speak to that. Us nurses were just asking for the same contract from Peace Health that was given to the hospital. And I just wanted to make the community aware of that and invite the community out to come and see us and join us on the line. We are at 123 International Way in Springfield at the old Sony building. And yeah, I just think it's important for us to get our voices heard, especially with Peace Health being the one to close the one and only hospital in Eugene. Thank you.
Thank you, Jamie. Our next and final speaker is Heather Herbert.
Hello, my name is Heather Herbert, and I'm here with the ONA, and I am representing 90 home health and hospice nurses. And we care for about 500 community patients who are fragile, bedbound, and dying, which is why they are not here with us today. I've worked at Riverbend for many years, and I use all of the same skills to provide hospital level care in order to keep them at home and out of the hospitals. Our hospitals are an important resource for the people in emergencies. With the shutting down of the UD, our resources are even more limited, and Riverbend is already at full capacity, and it is a long, long wait in the emergency room. Can you imagine if my patients, 500 of them, were unable to have our nursing care? They would have no other choice but to call 911 and go to the hospital, and it would be a disaster. Our community needs us, and our community needs are growing. The population of elderly people is growing. Peace Health home services are shrinking. Over 30 nurses have left, and today one more told me that she was leaving and got a different job. This is the first time retention has been a problem. And it is the first time that we do not have equality pay with the hospital. I would like to quote you, Mayor, being at our rally. You said on Saturday that nurses have to fight for pay, for essential benefits, to be able to live in our community. This system is unsustainable. It has impacts on all of us because of the essential services of healthcare. We are all, like everyone else. We are your neighbors. We have childcare that we have to pay for and are worried about our daily income. And if we do not have equal pay, more nurses will leave. We need a fair contract. Without nurses, Peace Health Home Services will be non-functional. And without those resources, we won't be able to provide the patient care that we want. And so that is why we we striked. And we're inviting all of you guys to come and join us because I'm out of time. But all of you guys are welcome. So please come and join us.
Thank you, Heather. Mayor, that was our final speaker.
Thank you all. Thank you, everyone, for coming to speak. I'm happy to open it to the floor if there are counselors who have any remarks to make. Counselor Semple.
Thank you. Thank you to the nurses for taking care of us. I hope I don't need you to come to my house, but I am so grateful that you would. So I hear you can take the bus right out to the strike line. You don't even have to worry about parking. So I'll see you there. Vanessa, thank you for coming and bringing up the animal welfare officer. This has been a concern of mine since the beginning when we only had one. And part of what the community safety initiative was to include a second one. As you have noted, that has not happened. And so I would like some information, city manager, about what's happening with the animal welfare officers and the funding. It's a concern. So thank you, Vanessa. And thank you to everyone for coming to talk to us and to listen to each other. It's really a vital form of our community. So thank you.
Thank you. Counselor Groves.
Thank you, Mayor. And thank you also to everyone who came to speak tonight. Your perspectives and your opinions are important. We do listen. We can't always agree with everybody, obviously, but we do take it to heart. I want to say thank you to the nurses for coming and speaking with us tonight as well. I appreciate the plight you're in. I support you, and I too will see you on the picket line. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else with comments? Councilor Zelenka.
Yeah, thank you all for coming, especially the ONA. I totally agree that the work that you do is amazing and gives you your own self-worth, but it's also the same work that the nurses do at the hospital, and you deserve equal pay. It's the same amount of work, same kind of compassion, the same kind of expertise. And to me, that deserves equal pay. Just because you're not in the hospital doesn't mean you're not doing the same work. So.
Thank you. Anyone else with a comment? Yeah, Counselor Keating.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor. Ditto to everything my colleague said, and like Counselor Semple, I'm going to hone in on the animal services piece. While I suspect Chief Skinner cares deeply. Recognizing the concerns that were expressed tonight, I look to the county's advisory committee. Lane County has, it's my understanding, an Animal Services Advisory Committee. And I wonder, City Manager, if there's an opportunity to explore, and Mayor, maybe an ad hoc or blue ribbon Animal Services Advisory Committee, or that could partner with the county and especially considering the pangs and the frustrations that we had last budget cycle. I'd like to see our community learn more, and whether that's in the form of an advisory committee or it's in the form of a future work session. I'd like to make sure that our four-legged friends are at the forefront of the conversation.
And birds.
And birds. And reptiles, apparently. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all. I want to thank you again for coming. I also will again voice my solidarity with the nurses in your strike. And as you're hearing, there's a lot of support in the council for you, and recognizing, as was one of you noted, Joe, I guess, noted in the beginning, that this is directly related to our loss of the UD hospital in terms of the needs and the demands we have to. I mean, if we don't have that hospital, we want to make sure that people can be treated in their homes where they'll be safer and recover, have a better chance of recovery, or if they're needing hospice. So thank you for standing strong, and thank you for coming to speak to us, and thank you to everyone. And with that, we are adjourned.